All right, the Oscars just finished. I, for the most part, enjoyed the show. It was pretty straightforward. There was no surprises. There was definitely some surprises, but no surprises in terms of controversies within the actual ceremony, which I know that the Academy was very nervous about, which I don't understand why. That was such a anomaly last year. Some interesting wins. Everything Everywhere All at Once is our big winner of the night. 7 wins from them is what I count. Followed by Netflix's All Quiet on the Western Front. All Quiet on the Western Front won four awards, which is pretty good. I think they won 4 of the 5 or 4 of the 6 things that they were nominated for. Huge night for All Quiet on the Western Front as well. The big controversy, of course, is Angela Bassett's snub for Best Supporting Actress, which went to Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm going to get into that too, but before that, I'm going to recap. I actually did pretty good. I got about 2/3 of my impressions or predictions correct. I thought that the ones that I didn't get correct were pretty interesting, but these things are not always as clear cut as you think that they may be. So, animated feature: Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, supporting actor Ki Kui Kwan, support for Everything Everywhere All at Once, supporting actress Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once, documentary feature Navalny, cinematography All Quiet, makeup and hairstyling The Whale. I thought that Elvis would take that one, but they did not. Costume design Black Panther Wakanda Forever, international feature All Quiet, production design All Quiet, original score All Quiet, short live action An Irish Goodbye, short animated The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, the Horse, short documentary The Elephant Whisperers, visual effects Avatar: The Way of Water. That was probably the obvious one there. Writing original screenplay, The Daniels. Writing adapted screenplay, Sarah Polley for Women Talking. Sound, Top Gun Maverick. Original song, Not To. Film editing, Everywhere All at Once. Directing, The Daniels. Actor in a leading role, Brendan Fraser. Actress in a leading role, Michelle Yeoh. And Best Picture, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Hey, Mark, Marcus Johnson says in the comments, love JLC, but hey, Auntie. So let's go ahead and just talk about that because that's the biggest thing that happened tonight. Right in the beginning of the show, usually Best Supporting Actress goes first, but they did Best Animated Feature first, and then followed it by the Best Supporting Actor and Actress Awards. Best Supporting Actress was a award that I thought was pretty shoring up for Angela Bassett. For a multitude of reasons. Mainly, though, is that she had won basically every award out there except for maybe 4 awards. And 4 awards might seem like a lot, but I think that there's like 25, 30 different award ceremonies that they go through during award season. Of course, we got the ones that we know of, like the Golden Globes and things of that nature, but you also have stuff like the Gotham Awards and the Independent Spirit Awards, and all of these smaller awards that were the New York Film Institute. And Angela Bassett was cleaning up shop everywhere you went. Uh, Kelly, Carrie Condon for A Banshees of Inisherin. I know that she won, I think, the BAFTA. Jamie Lee Curtis. This probably should have tipped me off. She won the Screen Actors Guild Award for Everything Everywhere All at Once. It hurts because, first of all, let me get out the way. I love Jamie Lee Curtis too. Uh, she's had an incredible career. She's been close out of some opportunities because of typecasting, specifically just being known as a scream queen for horror with the Halloween franchises. So she had a pretty limited pick of movies, especially in the 90s and 2000s. But she came back on the scene pretty strong. I loved her in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Everything Everywhere All at Once was my favorite movie last year, so I'm glad that it did so well. But if I'm going to objectively look at the performances, I would probably have her ranked fourth. I think that obviously Angela Bassett, in terms of Black Panther, was better. I think that her own uh, uh, her own co-star Stephanie Shu, I'm sorry, in Everything Everywhere All at Once had much more to do and did more things in that film. I think that Hong Chow in The Whale was better. I would put her and Carrie Condon in the same type of category. So that's one reason it really surprised me that she won. Now, something you should know is that Oscar voting ended, I think, on Tuesday of this week. So it opened and closed. I think it was open for like a week or 2 weeks and then closed on Tuesday this week. So what people were winning previous to that, let's be honest, it does inform bias and informs what the way these it does inform the way that these shows go. But Angela Bassett was winning everything until she got to it's either I think it was the Screen Actors Guild Award that Jamie Lee Curtis won, which was last weekend. That should have tipped us off because the way the Academy of Motion Pictures works is that the ones that nominated the acting awards are actors. It's not the whole Academy. It's not the directors and producers. It's just the actors. Everybody votes on all the awards. If you've seen the films, you can do that. And so the steam of a Screen Actors Guild win super late, maybe that helped push Jamie Lee Curtis over the hump. The only other thing I think that may have happened is that it's not a winner takes all type of voting anymore. It used to be that if the person who got the most top votes, like this person was voted one, the number one votes. Let me start over. So it used to be that people who could vote would just basically list their top five, 1 through 5. Angela Bassett, Jamie Lee Curtis, Hong Chow, and so on and so forth. They would just list them in 5. The person who had the most number one votes win. Now you can't just have a plurality of number ones. You have to have 51% or 50% plus one. So 50 point, you have to be over 50% of the votes. So what they do is that they do the rank order votes, right? And then the people who have the least amount of number ones, they're eliminated. And the person's list that had them number one, so let's say people had Carrie Condon number one, Carrie Condon is taken off the ballot. And then their number 2 becomes their number 1. So if they said Carrie Condon is my number 1, Jamie Lee Curtis is my number 2, and then Angela Bassett is my number 3, well, that number 2 becomes the number 1, and now Jamie Lee Curtis has more number 1s. I feel like that's what probably happened, that Angela Bassett had a plurality of votes, but the consensus is what this voting is supposed to do. The consensus, in terms of the top percentages of votes, went to Jamie Lee Curtis. Now, there is obviously some bias still. This project was trying to eliminate bias and not have a lot of kind of eliminate some of the surprises too. But there's still bias in voting. There was a really terrible article that came out with quotes from secret quotes from people who actually vote on the Academy Awards, and they were really giving it to Gina Prince Blythewood and how woke the process has gotten, and really letting folks have it that they felt pressure to vote for Black people, basically. And it was that coupled with the history of Black cinema not being recognized on what's considered the standard bearer for excellence within the field. The NAACP created the NAACP Image Awards to try to combat this and give us a space to be able to honor our own. But at the end of the day, when we start talking about legacy, and people are long gone, they count the Oscar wins. They don't talk about the Screen Actor wins. They don't talk about the Golden Globe wins. They don't talk about any of those. They talk about how many Oscars you got. And so when you have the giants of Black cinema, the giants of cinema, they're just Black. And they don't get the award that you believe they deserve given who they went up against. It hurts. It hurts. It has something to do with Jamie Lee Curtis. Congratulations to her. But the feeling and the outrage and the response to Jamie Lee Curtis winning is not because of her. It's because of a history of the way that these award shows has went. You can go all the way from back when the Oscars started 95 years ago until now. I think there's only been 60 Black people, period, not actors, period, who have won Oscars. And they've given out tens of thousands of these things. But I don't know if it's tens of thousands, but they've given out so many of these awards at this point. It's absolutely insane. So it's very hard to swallow that. Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors, they presented an award and they said, "Hey, Auntie, we love you." That was a wink and a nod to Angela Bassett. That was very upfront. I hope that neither one of those actors receive any backlash from Hollywood for doing that. We know how petty Hollywood can be, and so we'll see. Both of those actors still have a lot of cachet, so I doubt it. But we'll see if there's any blowback or any controversy or talking about those things in the future. So I really feel bad for Angela Bassett. And here's the other thing: Angela Bassett has been on record about how she was nominated for What's Love Got to Do with It, and probably should have won then too, with snuff for Love Got to Do with It. She did not get an acting role that was worth her merit. No, it's acting role, period, for almost 2 years after receiving a Oscar nomination. A black woman. The reason that your Kate Blanchetts of the world and your Glenn Closes of the world and your Meryl Streeps of the world can continue to get nominated, and those nominations and those wins continue to build to their legacy is because the awards help to solidify their expertise. There's an experience that comes with that where they start getting offered better and better roles. That doesn't happen for black people, specifically black women. Angela Bassett, she talks about how she didn't get any roles after her Oscar nomination for 18 months. And then even then, we see how small her roles are outside of black cinema. You have Halle Berry, which I think is one of the careers that make me the most upset after she won her Oscar in 2002, the night where the first black woman wins an Oscar. You know, she gets basically attacked by Adrian Brody, who gives her a kiss that she did not ask for or consent to, and then she goes on to get really crappy roles because black women can't be put into spaces with blind. The stories are written for. There's not stories written for them, and then even movies where they could do race blind testing for some of these roles. But Halle Berry was unanimously considered, on top of her talent, unanimously considered when she won her award to be the most beautiful woman in the world. So you have the most beautiful woman in the world who won an Oscar, who had also given us amazing performances, introducing Dorothy Dandridge, Bulworth, uh, Monsters Ball, losing Isaiah, which I know is melodramatic, but she was great in it. You know, these types of roles were coming to her, and she was knocking them out of the park. Boomerang, she can do everything from comedy to romance to drama, whatever she can do. Height of her powers, and then it's dead silence. She gets Catwoman, a terrible Catwoman movie, and then her career is basically done for years and years and years in terms of being into B movies. So it hurts when you see black actresses specifically have to deal with that mistreatment. Angela Bassett looked upset, and she should have because it was the second snub. Also, there is no guarantee that she is going to be offered the role with the script and the director that's needed to be able to perform at a level that warrants another Academy Award nomination. This could be it. I hope it's not, but history tells me this is probably it for her. God, I hope I'm wrong on that. But if you look at the history of the Oscars, not the history of the Oscars, you look at the history of Hollywood, what role is Angela Bassett going to get? Is she going to be stuck doing TV and doing? I mean, I like that fire station show, just fine enough. But is she going to be given a meaty part after this? We'll see. We'll see. I mean, this she elevated Black Panther: Wakanda Forever to be an Oscar-winning movie. You know, so I'm very torn about that because it really reminds me of, to a lesser extent, what happened to Denzel when Malcolm X came out. Denzel probably gave one of the best, if not the best, performance of the '90s, and Malcolm X, and then they end up giving the Oscar to Al Pacino for Sense of a Woman. I think Sense of a Woman and Al Pacino was a lot better in that film than Jamie Lee Curtis was in Everything Everywhere All at Once. But it was a career win for her, and it's like Angela Bassett deserves a career win too. I know that everybody loves Jamie Lee Curtis. I do too. But come on now, come on. Also, going back to that ranked voting and the way that they do voting in terms of those percentages now, I think that's why we're also seeing now something I never thought would happen, but we're seeing people being nominated for the same movie in the same category. Um, Judas and Black Messiah is the first thing that comes to mind, where Daniel Kaluuya won the Oscar when we also have a Keith Stanfield nominated in the same category. I think it's because of those rank order votings that you're getting that. So anyway, that's all I'm gonna say about Angela Bassett right now. I'll say more as I'm able to kind of digest this on my show See It, which comes out every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. So check me out then. I'll have more thoughts on that then. I also want to talk about Ruth Carter. Ruth Carter won for Best Costume Design for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. She's been nominated 4 times. This is her second win. What was her first movie that she won for Best Costume Design? The original Black Panther. So I picked her to win, but I was a bit dicey on that pick because I'm like, are they going to pick her for the same movie, the same franchise? And yes, they did. And she's now the most decorated Oscar winner for a black female, black woman. She's won more Oscars than any other black woman in history, and she only has 2. So that just lets you know some of the issues in terms of opportunity to prove yourself that exist in Hollywood. Ruth Carter is given these tremendous spaces to do costume design and to get nominated for movies like Black Panther, all black cast, all black directors seeking her out, but also Spike Lee's. I think she was nominated for Spike Lee's Malcolm X. She did the costume for that, and I can't remember what her 4th one was, but it might have been. I have to look that up. But congratulations to Ruth Carter. Some other awards that stuck out to me: Ke Huy Quan, Speech of the Night, amazing. I thought he was one of my locks. Guillermo del Toro winning for Pinocchio. Those are my 2 locks of the night, and I got those right at least. I did not get documented feature. I picked Fire of Love for the best documentary just because I like that movie. It was more of a sentimental pick. If I knew I was going to lose some of these other ones, I probably would have just said All Quiet. Not All Quiet, but I would have said Navalny, and I've been cute with that pick. But hey, that's the hill I'm going to die on. All Quiet getting all of these technical awards, international feature film. I picked Argentina in 1985 for international feature. Got cute with that pick, and I probably could have almost picked All Quiet, and I definitely should have there. But everything else, I think, was pretty solid. Sound for Top Gun Maverick. So Elvis was shut out. No best actor. No best costume design. No best production design. No makeup and hairstyling. I forget what their 5th award was. Maybe just 5 nominations. They didn't win anything. And I hate to say good because there's people who actually were nominated for those films that worked really hard for it, but I just hated Elvis so much. It was the most overhyped fluff that was. I almost want to call it anti-black in some ways. So I'm glad that didn't win. Banshees of Inisherin was shut out, which I like that movie as well. They were a dark horse for Best Picture for me, but that did not happen. Something else was shut out too that had multiple awards, and I cannot remember what film that was. But either way, it was a great night. Natu won original song over Rihanna, which I predicted. I saw some people mad on Twitter that Rihanna didn't win for Lift Me Up, which is a beautiful song that was written by her and Ryan Coogler and a bunch of other amazing talents. But Natu took the world by storm. I think that there's a lot more technical things that I like in that movie. And the dance is disconnected to the song. You can't separate them. I think that that was deserving. But I also think people were mad about Rihanna not winning because Angela Bassett didn't win. So people are just kind of really over. Our guard was up because our guard is up always with these shows. Brendan Fraser is going to get more. So I'll end with this. Brendan Fraser is going to get more work. He won Best Actor. But also, Austin Butler is going to get a lot of work. We're going to see a lot more of Austin Butler in the future. We're going to see a lot more of Colin Farrell in the future. All these actors we're going to see more of. But I question again: is Angela Bassett going to get more roles? Is Hong Chow going to continue to get roles? Is Stephanie Hsu going to continue to get roles? These actresses that are with Hong Chow and Stephanie Hsu kind of new to the scene, or Angela Bassett, Angela Bassett, who's been around forever, and we've seen her get passed over and over and over again. Will she be able to get back there? I hope so. She definitely deserves it, and she should go in the annals as one of our greatest actresses of the past 20, 30 years, I believe. We shall see. Don't see any new comments. Please feel free to comment if there's anything about the award show that you want to talk about, or if there's any reactions to the award show. I'd love to talk about it with you. Avatar was almost shut out. It only got visual effects, which is what it definitely should have got. I don't understand how it was nominated for production design. Maybe I don't understand production design as much as I should, because so much of Avatar was um, digital, special effects. So I couldn't really get it. D Movie Man says sorry, but the Jamie Lee Curtis win was straight up disrespectful. I think that, like I said, Jamie Lee Curtis winning, she just wasn't. She wasn't the number two in the category. It would have been like, to me, her win would have equated to Michelle Williams winning for The Fablemans over Kate Blanchett and Michelle Yeoh. That's how weird that would have been for me if with Jamie Lee Curtis winning. She was not. She's barely in the movie. In the movie, she was mostly there for comic relief. She did not get the big speech or the big soliloquy or the big meaty piece of prose that the other people got. Because usually when you have these supporting actors and actresses, they have to have some sort of time to cook, you know, and I just don't see it there. The Movie Man says Austin Butler landed a part in Doom Part 2 before Elvis even started making the rounds for award season, so he's well in his way. Austin Butler is he's very likable on the when he's doing these interviews. I think he's a heartthrob. He's a really good looking guy. That's going to serve him well in Hollywood. Obviously, he's young. I think that we will see very soon if people can look at him and not see Elvis, because he was so good in that role, and also he kind of sounded like Elvis for a long time after the after the movie ended. So we'll see what happens to Austin Butler, but I think he's going to be fine too. Look at my notes. Look at my notes. Look at my notes. The Daniels, every time they got up there to talk, it was fun. One thing I didn't like, I will say about Everything Everywhere All at Once, and specifically the Daniels, and they didn't mean it like this, and maybe I'm being a little too sensitive with this, but the Everything Everywhere All at Once, the Daniels for writing, for Best Picture, the film editor, they're like, oh, this is just my first movie. This is just my second movie. It's like all these people who've been working for this for 30, 40 years, and they're just like, oh, this just seems. It was kind of like throwaway lines that they were saying. Like they were just. It was more of them being shocked of winning that quickly. But hey, you catch lightning in the bottle. I also will say that I thought that the show was funny. I thought that Jimmy Kimmel did a good job in terms of getting people to let their guard down in the beginning. I think that bringing the donkey from Banshees out was great. I think Cocaine Bear being there was great, even though the guy in the suit did a little bit too much. I wonder if there was an actor in the suit or if it was just some guy they found. I don't know. The Will Smith jokes, they were funny in the beginning and warranted, because you have to address the red elephant in the room, or whatever the phrase is. When they went to introduce Best Documentary, he made some more jokes. And because that was warranted, it made sense, because Best Documentary last year is when all the hoopla happened. But then there were jokes after that. I'm like, okay, this is a bit much. This is like Jimmy Kimmel, you are giving this narrative way too much room in the show. Even at the end of the show, he's still kind of like, thanks to the crisis management team and all this stuff. It's like, come on, man, y'all are really milking this thing. It's like you want to get over the controversy, but you also want to continue to mention the controversy. And it's like, come on, this is a bit much. This is a bit much. But that's the only thing I have to complain about Jimmy Kimmel and the rest of the show. I feel like they didn't take a lot of shots the way they normally would to kind of liven up the crowd, but it was fine. The performances were great. Natu was great. Lift Me Up was great. Lady Gaga getting bare and cleaning all the makeup off of her and just putting on some casual clothes and belting out that song. That was great, and I think that she was trying to send a message about vulnerability and beauty and so forth, and she did it. I think that it worked. So I'm all over the place. I think that's all I have to say. Oh, good, Nicole and the kid, hip, Kim, and I really like the beginning opening, the opening of everything. Steven Spielberg being nominated in 6 different decades was great. Um, yeah, that's all my notes. I got 65% of my awards predictions correct. I should have gotten more, but I got too cute with my picks, which is fine. I'll learn that for next year when we do this again next year. And I'll make sure I see the shorts next year because just looking at the clips of them during the show, they look really interesting. Anyway, that's all for tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. I know it was a long show and you came and talked to me for a little bit, so I appreciate it. I will be back for my live stream show, See It. It's a show about movies and stuff. It happens at 5 p.m. Eastern right here on YouTube every Tuesday. Thank you so much, and I will see you then. Take care.